Seventh graders, yesterday we talked about functions and relations which are groups of data or groups of numbers, a data set, and how they relate to each other. Okay? We said that a function is when every x value has a different y value, all right, and or has only one y value. I gave you an example of something that would not be a function. For example, the grade that you get is not necessarily a function of the amount that you study. Okay? Because somebody could study for 5 minutes and get a C, and somebody could study for 5 minutes and get an A. See, for the 5 minutes doesn't necessarily change your grade. That's not a function. All right? But if you're buying something at a store, and whatever you're buying, let's say you're buying some candy, and candy costs $4 a pound for some gummy worms or something, Sour Patch, or whatever you're into. Or Mountain Dew, yeah, if you buy a case of Mountain Dew, or 2 cases of Mountain Dew, the price is going to change, or the amount that you pay is going to change for every case that you buy, right? That's a function. All right, if the case is $5, then if you spend $10, you get 2 cases. You spend $15, you get 3 cases. The more you spend, the more you get. That's a function. When one number changes and it changes the other number, that's a function. That's an example of a function. We're going to start talking about how to graph functions today. All right? Now, in this case, we're going to be given an equation. This equation is the equation for a line. That's called a function. And we're going to graph it using a chart. Using a chart of x and y values. So when it says to graph using x and y values, this is how you do it. First, it helps to solve the equation for y. All right? And we're going to practice that a lot. Solving an equation for y. Okay? Then we're going to make a chart. This is called, sometimes it's called a t-chart or an xy chart. And we're going to choose 3 simple numbers for x. We can pick those numbers based on the equation. Pay attention here. And then we're going to put those numbers into the equation to find the y value that goes with that x value. That'll give us some points that we can chart on a graph. So watch what we have here. All right, we've got our x value, we have an equation, and we're going to graph it. And the line that we find is going to be the solution. Okay? So let's pick some simple numbers here. Let's pick 0 and 1 and 2. 3 simple numbers. If x is 0 in this equation, then what would y equal when x is 0? What we would do is we would put in 0 for x. So this negative sign isn't part of x. All right, we have to leave that negative there. If x is 0, then it's negative 0 minus 2. What does that equal to? 0 minus 2 equals what? What is the answer, the value of that?
Negative 2.
Negative 2, right? 0 plus negative 2 is negative 2. So, in this equation, when x is 0, y is what, Noah?
Y is going to be
Negative 2. So that's what you put next to the 0. Okay? What if x was 1? Troy?
-1. Y would be negative.
So then y would be, actually, we would put 1 here for x, put the negative sign, plus -2, and y is -3. The value of this is -3. So when x is 1, y is what, Dylan? Pay attention. Okay, you should be writing this down. This is your example for your notes. Okay? When x is 1, y is what, Isaac? Follow along here. I just did this problem for you. And I want you to pay attention. So you have the answers to the questions that I'm asking. Okay? When x is 1, y is? John? When x is 1, y is? Not 3. -3, isn't it? Okay? So we write -3 next to 1 on our chart. What if x is 2? Then we put 2 in for x. Right here, we put a 2. Now, everything else we have to keep. We have to keep the negative sign. We're going to insert a plus sign so that we know to add these two. So when x is 2, y is, Henry? -4. So we want -4 right here. And now we have numbers, and we have points on a graph. 0, -2, 1, -3, 2, -4. Now we can put those numbers on this graph and mark those points. Okay? So go ahead and do that in your notes right now.
Mark the what?
Mark the points that we found
On the graph?
on the graph. Yep,
Okay.
that's this step right here, step 5. Graph the points.
What should the numbers be? Should we put numbers at the top?
The numbers should be the points that we found. See, what you're finding, class, you're finding the values, 2 numbers that go together that make a true equation. How many of these graph points are there that would make a true equation? Are there any more that would be true, that would make a true equation?
Yeah.
How many more? A lot? And what?
Infinite.
An infinite number. There's an infinite number of true points or 2 numbers that would make this true. X could be anything. What if x is 100? Then a -100 plus -2 is a -102. What if x is 1,000? What if x is 1,000,000? You could have an infinite number of points or coordinates that make a true equation, couldn't you? Because you just substitute the x in and find the y value that goes with it. That's why a line is the solution to this. It's not just one point. It's every point that would be on that line. Did you make a line when you graphed those points?
Yes.
It forms a line, doesn't it? It forms a line. 0, -2, 1, -3, and 2, -4. It forms a straight line. All right? So, we need to use a straight edge and draw that line. Yeah, you should use a straight edge. All right? It's too hard for me to get a straight edge up on here, but when you're drawing a line, you should use a straight edge, and then you should put something on the end of this line. What did I put on the ends of the line?
Arrows.
Arrows. Why? What did that show?
It's a
It
line.
shows that it's infinite.
That it's a line,
Yes.
not an ending point.
Yes. That the solution is an infinite number of points that go on this line. Okay? So what other points would fit? What other points would go on the line? Extend your line in your notes. What other points fit on that line? Or make the equation true? Noah, what did you say?
-3 positive 2.
-3
You go over 3 to y and up 2.
and up 2. Does that fit on the line?
No.
Extend your line in your notes. Would this be a solution if we used -3, positive, would that give us +2? Nope, so that wouldn't work. Okay, Michael?
-4, 2.
What about, what did you say?
-4, 2.
-4, 2? Oops. -4, 2. Does that fit on the line? Yeah, I think so. Okay. -2, 0 is a solution, isn't it? If we put -2 in for x, does that work? Is -2, 0 one of the points? Hunter?
-2, 0?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, because the x is negative. Look at everyone, look at this, because this is a common mistake. When the x is negative, and we substitute a negative number in,
It becomes positive.
it becomes positive, doesn't it?
Yep.
-2. Or the opposite of -2 is +2. So +2 minus 2 is 0. Okay? This is where this number crosses the x-axis. That's called the x-intercept. Okay? That's called the x-intercept. Repeat that. The x-intercept. The x-intercept is where any line crosses the x-axis. The x line. Michael.
So the coordinates are just opposite for the y-intercept.
The y, not always, but sometimes. In this case it is. The y-intercept would be where the line crosses the y-axis. Where is that? Nikki? Where's the y-intercept? Where would this line cross the y-axis? At 0, -2. 0, -2 is the y-intercept. What's the y-intercept, class? Yeah, but what is it in general?
When the line crosses the y.
It's where on the graph the line crosses the y-axis. Okay? So mark that spot in your notes. This is the y-intercept. And this is the x-intercept. Okay? Any questions on that? All right. So that's the first part of lesson 8.2. Graphing using the x and y chart.